What if the moment you are thinking about quitting is actually the moment everything in your life is quietly shifting in your favor and you just cannot see it yet? What if the delay that frustrates you, the silence that confuses you, and the closed doors that exhaust you are not signs of rejection but signals of preparation? Imagine standing in a long hallway filled with doors, some old, some new, some cracked open just enough to show a little light, and you keep knocking on the one you want the most. You knock with faith, you knock with hope, you knock with tears in your eyes, and nothing happens. No sound, no movement, no answer. And after a while you begin to wonder if anyone is on the other side listening. You begin to question your timing, your worth, your prayers, your purpose. But what you do not realize is that sometimes the reason the door is not opening is because the room behind it is still being built. Sometimes the foundation is still drying, sometimes the walls are still being strengthened, sometimes the opportunity you are asking for requires a version of you that does not yet exist. And the waiting season is not empty, it is construction season, it is training season, it is shaping season. There was a season in one man's life where everything felt still. He would wake up early, sit on the edge of his bed and whisper the same prayer, asking for direction, asking for breakthrough, asking for one clear sign that he was not forgotten. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and nothing dramatic happened. There were no sudden miracles, no loud announcements, no overnight transformations, just routine silence and quiet endurance. He watched other people move ahead, he watched others celebrate open doors, new beginnings, answered prayers, and he felt left behind. He smiled in public, but in private he wrestled with doubt. He asked himself, why not me? What am I doing wrong? Is this all there is? But what he could not see was that while his visible world looked unchanged, invisible things were aligning. Conversations were happening in rooms he had never entered. Decisions were being made by people who did not even know his name, yet circumstances were shifting slowly like pieces on a chessboard being moved into perfect position. Sometimes life is not a race forward, sometimes it is a slow strategic arrangement. Sometimes the delay is not a denial but a divine pause, because growth that happens too quickly rarely lasts, and blessings that arrive before you are ready often become burdens instead of breakthroughs. Imagine planting a seed in the ground, you cover it with soil and then you wait. You do not see roots forming, you do not see the small green shoot pushing through the darkness, you do not hear the quiet work happening beneath the surface. And if you judge the seed by what you could see, you might assume nothing is happening, but beneath the soil life is stretching, roots are reaching, strength is forming, and the day it breaks through the surface it will look sudden, but it was never sudden. It was a process hidden from your eyes. In the same way your life may feel still, but beneath the surface resilience is growing, patience is deepening, character is strengthening, faith is being refined. The silence is not empty, it is active. The waiting is not wasted, it is building something within you that applause could never build and shortcuts could never teach. Sometimes you think you need a door to open, but what you really need is the endurance to stand in the hallway without losing your belief. Sometimes you think you need immediate change, but what you really need is inner transformation, because when the external blessing finally arrives, you must have the internal strength to sustain it. There was a turning point in that man's story, and it did not begin with fireworks. It began with a shift in perspective. One morning, instead of asking why is nothing happening, he asked, what is this season teaching me? Instead of focusing on the closed door, he focused on preparing himself for when it would open. He improved his skills, he strengthened his discipline, he guarded his mindset. He chose faith even when feelings argued otherwise, and slowly something inside him changed. He was no longer desperate, he was determined, he was no longer anxious, he was anchored. And then one ordinary afternoon, his phone rang. The opportunity he had been praying for appeared in a simple conversation, and here is the part that transformed him forever. If that opportunity had come 6 months earlier, he would not have been ready. His mindset would have sabotaged it, his skills would have been incomplete, his character would have been untested. The delay had prepared him, the silence had matured him, the waiting had strengthened him, and suddenly what felt like wasted time became necessary time. What felt like rejection became protection, what felt like stagnation became strategy. And maybe you are standing in that same hallway today. Maybe you are staring at a door that refuses to move. Maybe you are tired of knocking, tired of believing, tired of hoping. But what if this very moment is the final stretch before breakthrough? What if the pressure you feel is not a sign to quit, but a sign that something is about to shift? Storms do not last forever, night does not stay forever, seasons always change, and just because you cannot see movement does not mean there is none. Sometimes the greatest victories are prepared in silence. Sometimes the most powerful transformations happen in hidden seasons, when nobody is clapping, when nobody is watching, when nobody is validating your effort. Those are the moments that build unshakable strength, because faith that survives silence becomes unbreakable. Courage that survives delay becomes unstoppable. Courage, and when the door finally opens, you will not walk through it fragile, you will walk through it fortified. You will not walk through it desperate, you will walk through it disciplined. You will not walk through it unsure, you will walk through it prepared. So if you are tired today, rest, but do not quit. If you are discouraged, breathe, but do not abandon hope. If you are confused, trust that clarity often comes after endurance. The hallway is not your final destination. The closed door is not your final chapter. The silence is not the end of your story. It may simply be the chapter where you are being shaped into someone capable of carrying the blessing you asked for. And one day you will look back at this season not with resentment but with gratitude, because you will see that every delay, every tear, every unanswered question was aligning you, strengthening you, positioning you for something greater than you imagined. The breakthrough rarely announces itself in advance. It often arrives quietly after the longest night. And when it does, you will realize that nothing was wasted, not the waiting, not the wondering, not the wrestling. It was all part of the preparation. So hold your ground, steady your heart, guard your faith, because the moment you are most tempted to give up might just be the moment everything is about to open. And when that door swings wide and the light pours in, you will understand that the silence was never absence, it was construction. The delay was never denial, it was design. And your breakthrough was not late, it was perfectly timed.